In Game of Thrones, Jon Snow's features are the epitome of a Stark's. But what if he was not born this way, and instead had white hair and purple eyes like a Targaryen? How would this not only affect his life, but future events within Game of Thrones?
Dude, this affects a ton. If he has silver hair, if this kid comes out with silver hair, this, first of all, completely eliminates the possibility of Ned Stark taking him home as his own, unless he wants to dye his hair black for his entire life. But then, inevitably, like so many other people around him are going to end up finding out there's something up with this kid. Why the hell does he have silver hair, right? And then so many people are going to have to know. It's so much collateral. Ned's seed is not compatible with silver hair. So, in this video, we're going to assume that all events prior to the events of the Tower of Joy remain the same. But in that moment, assuming, of course, that Jon Snow is the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, because we don't know if that's true in the books, but in this TV show, that is confirmed true. At that moment, Ned looks at this kid, this little silver hair, little Long John Silver, and decides, I cannot take this kid home. I have to find out something to do with him. What do you think, Don Boy, about the idea of instead of taking him home as his own bastard, Ned says, I do know this dime piece over in Starfall named Ashara Dayne, and she's going to be pretty upset that her brother died at my hand, wink, wink. I wonder if it's going to up her spirits a little bit and help my situation out a ton if she takes this baby and raises him as her own.
Classic good news, bad news. Good news, I got a son here that could be potentially the bastard son of me and you, and even though we've never consummated it. And I don't know if Ned, given that situation to consummate it with Ashara, he'd actually know what to do with it. Bad news, right? So you got this bastard. Good news, kind of. Right? Bad news is, yeah, your brother's dead, and here's his sword, just in case you wanted this.
Dude, someone brings me Dawn. It's amazing. Someone gives me Dawn. I'm not even worthy of wielding, Dawn Boy, but I'll take it, man. I'll mount it on my wall, hold it sometimes. Pretty cool.
I think that's the direction we want to go with this, but just to make sure we go down every path to ensure this is the most plausible and maybe entertaining direction to go with it. The other one, like you stated before, Ned bringing Jon up to Winterfell, I just don't think it could work at all. I'm just trying to think of ways Ned could play it off. Like, would he say this is his bastard kid with Ashara Dayne? Because the reason why, too, it makes sense for Ashara Dayne and just the Danes in general, Ned has a connection with Ashara. The Danes have a lineage that not only includes like having purple eyes, but also
silver
white
hair.
Yeah. Edric, who's the son of the Lord of Starfall, who is Arthur's older brother, which I don't know if we have his name, but Edric, aka Ned Dayne, has white hair and purple eyes. So, I mean, there's definitely a possibility that you have sex with a Dane, that this kind of kid pops out. So, I don't know if he can actually play that off to other people around him. Like, yeah, this is the bastard of some noble woman. It's like, why didn't you just leave him down there? Like, it's not like she didn't have a good area to raise him in, because as we hear from Oberyn Martell, we love our bastards down here in Dorne. Like, they love them. Why wouldn't he just leave them down there, right?
The logistics of it don't make any sense. I think it made sense with the black hair because this kid looks unequivocally like a Stark. Like, there's just no way. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess Ned had a bastard. You know, it's kind of unlike him, but I mean, look at him. Are you going to tell me that's not his kid? But in this situation, it's like, yeah, this kid's got silver hair just like Rhaegar, and Rhaegar is the subject of why Ned was down there in the first place. We know Rhaegar was there. We know that he kidnapped Lyanna. So, I mean, yeah, this is possibly a great baby, right? Like, everybody's going to assume it, or at least the rumors are going to be to a much greater extent than they were before, and it's just unnecessary risk on this kid's life. I'm not saying that rumors aren't going to emerge in the end being raised by Ashara, because who knows if she can keep her hot mouth shut. You know, you have no idea. But it looks going to be better than if Ned brings him up north. And plus, dude, Catelyn's going to be a huge factor here too. First of all, now, this is a great situation for Ned. The Wicked Witch of the North might not even be so at this point, you know, the Karen of the North. But if Jon was up there with silver hair looking so distinct. I know that a part of Catelyn's hate was because Jon looked so much like Ned the first time, and Robb didn't look a whole lot like Ned.
Right.
However, Catelyn's still going to be pissed as hell, and if there's like a chance that maybe this kid could be outed as an enemy of the crown or something like that, who knows, man? She might give old Bobby B a call.
Yeah, I think if Jon's up there with white hair, maybe she's like pissed off at him because how good he looks too. He's like, damn, he's got these great features. Oh, I hate how good he looks. Ugh.
He's the only one. Maybe so unique.
Yeah, maybe some stepmom categories in Jon's future if he looks that good.
Oh, yeah. Bottom line, with the silver hair, too many questions are going to be asked, whereas with the Ashara Dayne situation, there's a lot of rumors surrounding her death. You know, because in the main series, she does kill herself, and one of the possible reasons that's cited as a rumor of why she killed herself is that she had a stillbirth and she was so depressed by it that she killed herself. So it's like, yeah, if there's like a rumor that she had a stillbirth, something tells me that there's good reason to believe she was pregnant around this time. And maybe she even did have a stillbirth. It's just unconfirmed whether or not that was the reason why she ended up dying, right? So if that's the case, man, it's like, yeah, she had a stillbirth, boo-hoo, I'm so sorry. That is sad. But here's a beautiful, shining little lad to replace him. And by the way, this kid is also like the item that your late brother was guarding, so maybe you'll like kind of see some kind of connection to that, right? Like, I'm gonna protect this thing, my douchebag brother, oh, sword of the morning, real impressive. What could you do? Watch this shit. I'm gonna save this kid, and she does, right? And plus, too, I was thinking about this. If he's a bastard, he's still kind of looked down upon. Do you think there's any way she could BS that, like, maybe it was what's his name, like Oswald Went or Gerald Hightower in the show, right? One of the other Kingsguard that were with Arthur Dayne at the Tower of Joy, just somebody that we know is confirmed dead and can't say anything otherwise. Do you think that she could BS it like, oh yeah, me and this other Kingsguard, we had a secret marriage and this kid's actually his son? It's totally legit.
Yeah.
Like, is that possible?
I mean, with incest being as popular as it is, she could just say this is mine and Arthur's kid, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, possibly. With the silver hair,
that
too.
would... Yeah, I mean, that would definitely cause more issues. Yeah, she definitely could play it off like that. I have confidence that the Danes can somehow keep it underneath the wraps. I just want to go down two other like little options. Either I don't find them interesting, or he definitely doesn't have that option. Which one of them is sending them with the reeds? That could work. He could just send them to Greywater Watch, right? But no, it's not interesting. He just becomes a swamp boy. It's me, Jon Snow. I'm here with the reeds, and we're just gonna be a swamp boy. No, don't like it.
No, dude,
don't like it. Well, even though it definitely could work.
No, I don't even think that works because this silver hair is so. It's just so much tension grabbing. Like, why does this kid have silver hair? Where'd you get this kid again? Is it now Howland Reed that's claiming he had a bastard down there? Or is he just being a good Samaritan and adopting a spicy little Dornish fuck and bringing him back up north? You know what I mean? Is that what's happening?
Right. And on top of it, Howland Reed, where the hell is he? Within the book series and in the TV show, you can argue as well, like, where the hell is this guy? And the other one is Ned Stark could have pushed Jon's claim to the Iron Throne. First off, he's a bastard. He has no like legitimate claim. And I don't think Ned would ever try to buck Robert and his decisions at this point, right? He kind of tries to push him a little bit, but can you imagine him, Robert, with his raging hard-on to destroy everything that's Targaryen related? And it's like, well, actually, this is the bastard son of a potential grape baby between Lyanna and Rhaegar, right? I don't think.
I mean, if he knew about the secret marriage aspect of it, and then he was able to prove that, then yes, I do think I think that he could do that. But that would also probably involve then Ned himself taking the throne from Jaime instead, because he would kind of see the trajectory of where things had to go. Because if Robert was king, it doesn't even matter if this kid's legit. He's going to have him killed. So it's too many rabbit holes to go down, I think, and it's more in the realm of fan fiction than this is. This is like pretty straightforward. It's like, yeah, this kid exists. We know who the parents are. Ned has another contact here who it makes a whole lot of sense to give to if Ashara Dayne really did have a stillbirth, which I think, I mean, why not? Why? There's really no reason to think that she didn't.
If Ned leaves Jon down with Ashara Dayne, I think the events, correct me if I'm wrong here, or correct me if I'm wrong in the comments as well, I think the events play out basically the same from Robert's Rebellion all the way up to maybe season 3, or, it'd be book 3 within the book series of A Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones. Nothing else changes. Like, it doesn't change Ned's choice to stay up in Winterfell or, go down south, right? Jon's impact in the story is very minimal, and I don't think he definitely has an impact, but I don't think it's large enough to shift it in any one direction. So I think the series of events stay basically the same.
Well, right, exactly. Like, you might have Robb having like a slightly different personality because he's like the sole older brother now instead of having this like companion and peer. But then again, Theon's around too. So I don't know how much exactly that would change. For Jon, I mean, him too, he's an only child now potentially, so maybe he could have like a different personality. So, okay, I was thinking about this for Jon growing up, okay? Because we have a few examples of Jon kind of, playing around as a kid, growing up with Robb and all that stuff. But he's in Dorne now, so it didn't really, some of this stuff doesn't really make sense. So I got a few examples. We know this. They notoriously, Robb and Jon, built up a big snow pile. They like to do this and push it on kids. Like, there's a little, like a fat ass kid, they pushed it on. They tried to do it to Mance Rayder and he scolded him, right? Pile of snow.
Yep.
But there's no snow down in Dorne, so I'm thinking maybe instead Jon builds a big mountain of sand and rock and he kills someone brutally, cripples them with the rocks, and then they drown in sand. Do you think that's...
Can it be Oberyn Martell?
Dude, my fingers are crossed. You know what? Sand snakes first, man. Oberyn can go down last. Actually, no. Oberyn's got to go first, and no new ones can be created. Either way, yeah. Hopefully the Martells are first on the list, man. I'd much prefer the Daynes to be the Lord Paramounts of Dorne, for sure. So I was going to say this, too. Do you think, who's Jon's favorite Targaryen now? Because in reality, in the main series, his favorite is, Daeron, conquered Dorne.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Sure.
That's not going to be his favorite one now. Who's his favorite? Like Baelor the Blessed, maybe? He took the walk at I don't know who it would be.
Maybe is it Baelor? Is it Breakspears? Doesn't he have like some Martell blood in him?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Dirty Targaryen.
Yeah, he's just like, look at me. Well, actually, no, but he has white hair now, so I don't know. Who would be his favorite?
It's very
Who
confusing, yeah. I don't know who would
it might
be
be
Jon Snow's new favorite, or I guess Jon Sands, or it wouldn't even be Jon. I don't even know what this kid's name is. Blank.
Well, we're going to call him Jon Snow, but
Okay.
comment down below, too, what do you think his new name should be? And it can't be Edric, because Edric's already a name now, right? Edric Dayne. But even though that would make a lot of sense to call him Edric. It would be Edric Sand would be perfect for who he is, right?
It
But
sounds very
doesn't make
cool, too.
sense.
It sounds very cool. Okay, last thing. We know there was an incident in Winterfell when he was a kid where he covered his face in flour with Rob's help, and Rob brought his other siblings up there. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Whiteface.
He white-faced, and Jon, popped out and became a ghost. Just scare them and, make them think that he was haunting them.
Mm-hmm.
So in Dorne, you kind of got to go, reverse. You're on opposite poles here. You're not up in the white north anymore. Maybe he covers his face in black pepper and pretends to be someone from the Summer Isles to come and kill him and pillage Starfall. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm here
I think this is
kill you.
Yeah, I am Corlys Velaryon.
What do you think? Is that too opposite, or
Dude,
it's still on topic, right?
If he has the white hair, he's definitely Corlys, right?
Super dark skin with that pepper and then silver ass hair. That's kind of like that Makoro guy, right? Who rides with badass.
Yeah, this definitely happens. I think Jon, beat for beat, basically replays his childhood with just insert either dirt, mud, or sand instead of snow.
That's like a regional variance, right?
Yeah, right. I think it's safe to say it's going to be beat for beat the same. I'm trying to think of how he's going to get raised, and do you think he actually is going to be like a fighter as well? Like, I don't see him being potentially like he's going to be a scholar. Look at him. He's going to become a maester. It's like, no, I think probably based off of his lineage as well, like made-up lineage, right? Where it's like, oh, yeah, do you know your... Oh, dude, can you imagine that, living that? Because he thinks his dad is Ned Stark still, right, at this point? Can you imagine being Jon Snow, being like, I'm the bastard son of Ned Stark and Ashara Dayne. My father killed my uncle, and my uncle is like a god or a hero down. He used to be the greatest swordsman, not only within probably House Dayne, but even the Seven Kingdoms in its history. And my father killed him. And, like, what does that mean for me? Look at that conflict of interest there, dude. It's like, ugh.
Dude, I question if they would even, like, if Ashara Dayne would even say that Ned is the father, or like if that was the thing that was said, because you'd probably want to put as big of a difference or as big of like a space between you as possible. Because exactly like you're saying, dude, if I was in that situation, I'd be like writing to my father and being like, dude, are you kidding me? That is amazing, but I'm kind of pissed. Like, who knows? Like, at some point, maybe he might try to have a pilgrimage up to Winterfell and have a little meeting or something. I don't know. If I was Ned, I'd be wary of that in the future. And I just probably wouldn't associate myself with it, which is kind of probably insulting to Ashara, maybe. I guess I don't know. Let us know in the comments what's more insulting to Ashara, if Ned delivers this kid and says, hey, just say I'm the father and this is my bastard, or if he says, hey, here's a kid, and by the way, do not say I'm involved at all, because I want nothing to do with you or this kid. Which one of those is more insulting? I actually don't know.
I like Ned Stark whenever he's like talking to Ashara too, when he's like dropping off this baby. Him just like cocking back his fist, and he's like, you don't tell anybody about this, otherwise I'm going to do the same thing I did to you that I did to Arthur Dayne. He's like, oh, and it makes her flinch. She's like, ooh,
yeah, she's
flinching.
Do
it right now. She's flinching.
Okay, listen, to answer your question, I do think that Jon will become like some kind of a knight or something. Like, he'll be trained by whatever like Master of Arms is present at Starfall, right? He's not going to go and train with these like super elites down at Dorne. He's not going to get trained by like whatever. Yeah, he's not going to be trained by Oberyn. Whatever fan service, fan fiction, half this fandom would write.
Well,
if
what
they were
if he
doing
becomes
this
a water dancer though? Water dancer. Is that on the table?
Oh, dude, the first sword of Bravos comes down there. Oh, super cool.
Grooms him into being a follower of the
Iron Bank.
Whatever his. Yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
Yikes. No, I think he does become a fighter. I don't think it's that significant, though. Like, maybe he could get drug into a war, but that's the kind of thing, if you see these events go on, like you said, seasons 1, 2, and 3 are going to pretty much remain the same. Dorne doesn't so much get drug into the conflict. And when you fast forward even something like the Purple Wedding, I'm not saying we need to go there right now, but if you fast forward to the Purple Wedding, I don't think that like Jon Sands would be in attendance there. So how is he really getting involved, you know?
Right. So I think the events, like we said, and actually before we go into those events right now, I also do like the idea that Jon does not know that Ned's his father, or made up father, I guess, because in all reality, he's still R plus L equals J, right? So his father still is Rhaegar. But to think that he's going to hate Ned Stark growing up, you know, and instead he used to idolize him. But now he's thinking like, oh, Ned Stark is the one that killed my uncle, one of the greatest swordsmen ever. Yeah, it's such a, I don't know, really complete different look on Jon's character. But like you said, Jon Snow's impact, or, you know, Jon Sands' impact now within the series in compared to what Jon Snow was impacting in the main series, or how has it actually changed at all? Like, yeah, nothing in King's Landing, nothing in Winterfell, or I should say nothing, very minimal in Winterfell.
Yeah, minuscule.
Basically between Dorne and all the way up to Winterfell, nothing changes dramatically, but there is a change when we get to the Wall, and also potentially the Dornish plot we get within. I want to more so talk about what we get in Feast for Crows than we do actually in the TV series, because the TV series is so bad. If you want to know why you hate Dorne so much, read the books and you realize, like, damn, this is what they do. What they do to, like, Ariel Hotep, or what's his name? Ariel Hotep.
Hotep, yes. Yeah, that mercenary, yes. He's a POV.
At the Wall, though, Sam Tarly's dead meat, right? He's dead day one.
Listen,
Alistair Thorne kills him, basically.
No. I don't know about that. Okay. I don't know. I think back home, Sam had a little bit of enabling, okay? I know his dad was hard on him, his brothers are hard on him. I think he had a mother, sister, aunt, grandma, something over there that was kind of being like, no, it's okay, you can just be yourself. And then eventually he got booted, okay? Eventually got booted to a place of the Wall where he really has no supporters. In the main series, though, what did he have? He had Jon, another enabler, right? But in this situation, he's going to be like Bible Man, okay? He's pushed to his wit's end. He's on the ground digging through the mud. He doesn't find a Bible under there, but what does he find? He finds the catalyst for his Sigma grind, dude. He realizes, like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm pathetic. I'm a fat slob. I'm a fat pig. Everyone hates me. The most degenerate people I've ever met in the world hate me. I'm actually a really smart guy. Why don't I apply this brain of mine to this body and get a chiseled, rock-hard physique that is athletic as hell? I have nothing but time up here. I'm here for the rest of my life. The environment sucks. The least I could do is better myself and, like, live as long as possible.
Are you telling me he's going to basically become a maester to his own body, where he's, like, measuring his macros out, and he's like, this is actually how you get lean, guys. This is actually how much calories you need every day to look like this by the end of it?
Oh, dude, kinesthesiology and, like, yeah, like the thermodynamics within your metabolism and all that stuff. That stuff's not established in Westeros yet. It gets established with Sam. Later on, he takes a pilgrimage to the Citadel. Oh, yes, he does. But it's not under the same circumstances. He's going here as a published author because everybody wants to read his shit. Like, you got to get a load of this guy from the Wall. He's like the most impressive physique I've ever seen. He's not the strongest guy. The mountains got him beat. But he's chiseled. He's got a V-taper like no one's ever seen before. I'm not sure if this happens just from getting beaten down up there, or maybe he needs a catalyst like Jorah Mormont dying. Because, there's also a chance, too, that Maester Aemon and Jorah kind of, like, take him under their wing still and be like, yeah, this Sam guy, he's pretty smart. And then later, Jorah dies, and it's like Gohan going Super Saiyan 2, like with Android 16.
Right, yeah.
Like, I love birds. That's what does it. And Sam realizes what he needs to become, dude. It's Sam versus the world.
I love whenever people comment when we're talking about Jorah Mormont, but when we say it so quickly, it sounds almost like Jorah. Blame that on George, why that sounds so similar, not us. It makes it sound like we're talking about
Jorah and George.
Yeah, exactly. That's where all your issues are. Yeah, Lord Commander Mormont, you think he still dies, right? Because the White is brought in, and Jon Snow's the only one that saves him. You think Sam then saves him? Because here's my thought: Lord Commander dies. They're able to kill the White still, but then now there's no Lord Commander. I think Alistair Thorne takes Longclaw. He renames it Longthorn. Oh, yeah, there we go. He then becomes Lord Commander and maintains the Wall basically until the Wildlings secretly attack and they overtake the Wall. Okay. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. But you think Sam, the Slayer, is able to maintain the Wall and hold it?
Well, first of all, the answer to that question is yes, if he maintains his true final form, which I'm not 100% sure he does. I'm not still convinced of it. I'm just saying if he doesn't die early on, then yeah, he's getting to that form for sure. He's chiseled, he's ripped. But, Ghost isn't here. So when Jon and Sam are taking their vows over at the Weirwood tree, Ghost isn't going to recover the hand. So they're not going to find the corpses to bring him back. and they're not
Oh,
going to
true.
wreak havoc. They're not going to have that because Ghost isn't going to be there.
Okay, so let's just say regardless, if Jor, Lord Commander Mormont,
Yes, sir.
stays alive, Sam stays alive, Alistair all stay alive. So if they don't have this like white, interaction within Castle Black, they never range up north. They never really find whatever's going on with the Wildlings.
Well, no, hold on.
The Wildlings will
hold on.
secretly attack, right?
they do.
And take over Castle Black.
They would still go up north because they're still, if they don't find those 2 corpses or whatever, but eventually they're still going to have to go beyond the wall in search of Benjen and his team because it's like, dude, all their best Rangers are gone. That's why they go out. I think you're right. It might not happen
leave the Rangers.
It might not happen as
Leave the
soon
Rangers.
because those corpses, you know what I mean? Little cold hands, so cold. But I think
so
they
they
still
go up there and they. Okay, so they still go up there. They experience the whites. They see the whites, right? But they retreat back. They experience the amazing customs and courtesies of Craster the Great.
Craster of Craster's Keep.
Yeah, thank you. So they experience all of that. They head back into Castle Black. They saw everything, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is completely screwed up. Whatever we're seeing. What are we gonna do? Hide behind the wall?" Wildlings attack, right?
Yes.
They raid Castle Black, right? So they all eventually will die from the Wildling attack against the wall, right?
I think yes. Well, what about Stannis? Does Stannis show up here?
He might, but he might show up too late. Also, did they send out the letter to all of the kings because of I think it was because of the whites. It wasn't because of the Wildlings. Yeah. So maybe they send out that as well. Still, they're like, hey, we need help. But Stannis is going to take out the White Walkers as well as the Night King, if the Night King's even in this, because it's,
He's Azor Ahai, yeah.
He is
Stannis
Azor Ahai.
right.
So I'm not too worried about the White Walkers. I'm more so concerned about what happens at Castle Black till all these people die. And I think eventually they do. Maybe Stannis comes up there and is able to clear out Castle Black, so it kind of just neutralizes the whole thing out, right? The Wildlings come up, kill all of the Night's Watch people. They do some sort of Eiffel Tower thing on Samwell. He's loving every second of it.
Don't
now
you
because
take
this is the first-
that shit back. Like, let us know in the comments if you think that Sam maintains his soft, lovable body, or if he evolves into the just absolute chiseled jaw, Sam yoked Tarlesterone. Okay, Samwell Tarlesterone. I want to know if you guys think that happens, because if so, I do think he still dies. I mean, what kind of a man can fend off an entire wildling army? It's not going to happen. But imagine how many of these disgusting free folk he's going to take out with him.
I know we are asking the audience a lot, like, oh, comment, blah, 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 blah. We actually do want to hear your thoughts. But
yeah, we reply to comments, all right?
If you don't just comment, share this video out, because if we get enough subscribers, we will be doing, what if Sam Tarly was jacked as hell?
Yeah.
How would this change future events in the Game of Thrones? Basically, like, his dad's like, holy shit, this boy. I'm going to take the black. That way he can rule over Horn Hill.
Yeah, like Dickon's okay, but holy shit.
My son's going to dick on me.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
So what happens at Castle Black then, Gator?
This is the reality. This is what Sam... Forgive me for having a glass half full approach to the men going through the absolute hell of Westeros, all right? But I think you're right, ultimately, in the end. I think maybe it's possible that the Wildling attack wouldn't happen until later, because maybe they don't start traveling beyond the wall to look for those Rangers until later. Or maybe that would even make the Wildling attack happen sooner, you know what I mean? Because there aren't any, there's Jon Snow's not over there trying to negotiate and trying to hold them off, and Mance Rayder's not kind of appeasing it and stuff like that. Alternatively, if Sam does get yoked early on and they go beyond the wall and they have the whole Craster thing, depending on Sam's attitude, maybe he would just kind of fill in for Jon and you get basically the exact same interaction. But even in that case, if there's no whites that they're able to write to Stannis about, and that is the reason why definitively that they wrote to the Five Kings, and there would never be another reason why they write to the Five Kings, then yeah, I think the Wildlings still overtake the wall and Sam dies. He's going to have to.
Yeah, so
along with everybody else, I should say. That's not just Sam.
So if the letter then gets to Stannis, or maybe Melisandre sees it within the fire that he needs to go up there, and he's like, yeah, you got to get up there,
right,
boyo.
Yeah,
like, okay,
absent the whites, yes.
Yes, sir. He goes up there. What if he's able to get all of the Wildlings and whatever is remaining of, which I don't think there'll be any remaining Night's Watchmen, but if he's able to group them all together, maybe he's able to make a successful push against, the Winterfell at that point, right? With his own crew against Ramsay Bolton.
Honestly, if Stannis goes up there, with his flaming sword that he reaches into the chest of Melisandre, or maybe his daughter, or maybe his wife, just like that dude from Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, reaches right into that chest and he pulls out the true Lightbringer. and slays the Night King, like in the presence of some of these wildlings, oh, dude, they will bend the knee. They'll put their faces down and their butts in the air, begging for more and more and more for Stannis. They will form that army. And if there's enough of them, hell yes, he definitely stands a chance of, claiming his rightful place.
Yeah, I was going to say, forget about bend the knee. They're going to bend the waist if they see Stannis do that.
Hell
right?
yeah. Pop it back, dude. Look at it, too.
Well, okay, so that happens all up in the north, right? And that will have more ramifications as we go forward. But with Ashar Dayne and Jon Snow at this point, what do we think happens with that relationship? Or not even relationship, I guess. What happens with Jon's identity? Does it get leaked out to anybody? Does she then use this as like a, hey, Prince Doran, I actually have the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar right here. We could play this off as basically do their own kind of Blackfire pretender thing that they're going on with young Griff, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is which here on this channel we officially believe that young Griff is actually Aegon the sixth.
Yeah, he is for sure.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah, but could they do that themselves? They're like, this is actually, Aegon, or are they gonna say this is just Rhaegar and Lyanna's kid, but let's just pretend it's Aegon that slipped through and was able to escape. Have Areola Martell marry him because Viserys III then dies over in Essos, which was his number one plan. It was like, oh, we're going to marry my daughter with Viserys III. They're going to come back over. We're going to take back King's Landing. Once that is kind of in the gutters, that plan, do they then go this way? Or what do you think Jon's plan is in the future? And does his identity get released or leaked, I should say?
I'm just trying to think of like what the circumstances are where this identity would get leaked, because I think that's true. I think under certain circumstances, Ashar would make that push, even though it puts like a big target on Jon's head or whatever, but not in Dorne, because the Martells are all going to be game with this. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, fuck, like, we're back. We're back. But I question like how bad things have to get in King's Landing to make that happen, I just don't know what's happening in King's Landing that's making them decide to make this push, because they kind of seem content down there, like, just pouting themselves, right? It doesn't seem like they're super flustered and ready to go to war at any chance. Plus there's like the whole Dany situation too. Like, are they trying to ally with Dany at the same time? Because if they're like trying to push their claim and they know Dany's got 3 giant ass dragons, it's like, what's the game plan there?
Well, I think the Dornish people, or I should just say the Martells, have like a long game view on everything, right? So you're not going to see Doran make any sudden movements. And I always love the analogy that Prince Doran was the grass that hid the viper, right? So Oberyn Martell would strike, but then he would hide back in the disguise that Doran would put up for him. So I think Doran's plans are, one, being with Areola Martell going over with King, we call him King Viserys III, a.k.a. the Beggar King, over there in Essos. They were going to marry and move back into Westeros, right? And he was going to assist in that.
Yep.
His second plan then is Quentin was going to go over to Dany and marry her, or at least try to, right? And then I guess his third kind of plan is like, hey, we could just play nice with the Lannisters by having is it Trystane?
Yeah, Trystane.
With Marcella,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as that relationship stays fine, we kind of can, if things blow up in our face behind the scenes, we can always just, it's basically like, if nothing works out in the kitchen, we can always have takeout. And that's basically the takeout in this situation, right? Okay, cool. We'll just leave this or have leftovers, right? To keep up this kitchen analogy.
Right, I suppose that's true. I mean, it wouldn't really hurt anyway. I guess they don't know how much of a loose cannon Dany is, and really none of us know, especially the book version. Like, we just don't know what exactly she's all about yet. So I guess I could see them doing it. Like, the dragons maybe wouldn't be such a big factor. Plus, when it's like out of sight, out of mind too, it's like, oh, 3 dragons, yeah, like I'm sure, like super impressive. So maybe at some point when the Lannisters are looking particularly weak, maybe that's when it is. Like if Cersei's up there doing some crazy shit, right? Maybe Ashara, kind of spills the beans to the Martells, and then Areola's like, hey, John boy, come lick my toad. You know what I mean? And then they come down there, they bump Fuglies. Maybe he even impregnates her, and that's their whole like claim to fame. It's like, hey, not only is this kid I guess he wouldn't be a kid at this point. He'd be like a young adult, right? Like, not only is this kid who's like 17 years old, not only is he the rightful heir to the throne before the usurper Robert Baratheon took over, but he is married to a Martell like his father before him. And she is pregnant as shit and ready to continue this line. Don't you want the old ways back? Like, the Mad King wasn't that bad, was he? This kid's not mad. Like, we're going to have a good time. I think it's like I said. I think the Lannisters might end up looking really weak, and then that would be the opportunity for them to kind of create this new opportunity for a claim to the throne. And then later on, if Dany comes over and says, like, no, screw you guys, like, I'm still there. I don't care about, like, the real order of succession. I'm just a girl with dragons now. Like, that's my only thing I care about. I'm going to conquer this place by force, just like Aegon the Conqueror before me. Super cringe. That might be what happens.
I guess the other thing that could happen is, you know, Jon is raised with Edric Dayne, right? And they both kind of have like similar maybe goals and dreams, aspirations, possibly. And they both become part of the Brotherhood Without Banners, because that's where Edric is right now. And funny enough, I guess what it could end with is Jon Snow ends up serving Lady Stoneheart in the Riverlands.
Oh, jeez, dude, poor John Boy, man. No matter what he does, no matter where life takes him, no matter where his life begins or ends, whatever color hair he has, he can't escape the Karen of the North.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not, we don't care.